Hello, today we are going to be learning how to relate and represent fractions that are tenths and hundredths to decimals. You know you can do it when you can relate decimals to fractions, when you can represent fractions on a number line, and when you can represent decimals on a number line. And we are going to be writing equivalent decimals and fractions, meaning decimals that are equal to fractions. They show the same thing. Now, as you can see, I have a number line here, but there's nothing on it. So I'm going to start writing using my writing tool, and I'm going to put in a 0, and a 1. So this is 0, this is a 1, but I have all these lines in between. Now, we've talked many times about fractions, right? And if I count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these lines from 0 to 1. Meaning, if I want to write going to this whole number, this whole 1, it's going to be made up of 10 parts, right? So I'm going to write fractions. Now for all these fractions, I'm writing with a denominator, the number on the bottom, a denominator of 10, because there are 10 pieces that make up my whole. Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces that make up this 1. Now, at this first mark, I have 1 piece, then 2 pieces, then 3 pieces, then 4 pieces, then 5. So the numerator, the number on top, shows how many pieces I have, how many pieces are filled in. Now, we are going to match these fractions with the decimal 0.4, or 4 tenths, because there's a 4 in the tenths place. Now, where would I put 4 tenths? Right here. Now, these decimals and fractions are said the exact same way. 4 tenths, 4 tenths. So, if I wanted to write this number, how do I say this number? 7 tenths, because I have a 7 in the tenths place, right behind the decimal. So I would put 7 tenths right where the 7 tenths fraction is. Now, let's say I wanted to change this. And instead of being from 0 to 1, I wanted to see all the parts between 4 and 5. Well, how many pieces are in between my 4 and 5? There are 10. And because there are 10, again, I have 10 pieces before I get to 5. So, what you are going to do right now is you are going to write the matching decimals to this fraction. So for instance, here I have 0/10, so it would be 4 and 0/10. Here I have 1/10, so I have 4 and 1/10. So what you are going to do is you are going to click on the link in our Edpuzzle, and when you are done, you are going to click here to share the code. Now you can either share this code and type it in as your answer, or you can copy the link and right-click your link into your answer box. Now, we have learned of an even smaller number than tenths. This year we've also learned about hundredths. So I'm going to be very clear. I have 1 and 0/10. And here I have 1 and 1/10. So, in between all these, I have even smaller numbers. Right? If this is 1/10, what's the distance between this then? Well, let's see. This can be written as 1 and 0/10. And this can be written as 1 and 1/10. But I can also make these even smaller, right? We've also talked about hundredths. So here I have 0/100ths. I don't have anything besides a 1. And here I have 1/10 is the same as 10/100ths. So I'm going to count by 2's. So I have 1/100th, 2/100ths, 3/100ths, 4/100ths. 6/100ths. 8/100ths. And for decimals, right, I'm no longer running in the tenths place, right? I do not have any tenths. I do not have enough to be in the tenths place. I have 2/100ths, or here I have 4/100ths. So showing between 1 whole and 1 1/10, I'm showing that there are equal spaces, and that's instead of being in the tenths place, I have my parts in the hundredths place, because this is even smaller than 10th.